Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to explore the absolutely fascinating intersection of astrophysics and science fiction. We're looking at what happens right at the very edge of human knowledge. That gray area where the hard data of space exploration bleeds into the wild imagination of storytellers. So if you've ever looked up at the night sky and wondered what's hiding out there in the dark, you are in the exact right place.
Okay, let's dive into this. What actually happens when our absolute best cosmic math just completely fails to add up? Like when the planets we can clearly see aren't behaving the way our models say they should. It leaves a void, right? A dark spot in our understanding. And nature might abhor a vacuum, but let me tell you, human psychology hates a mathematical void even more.
There's this fantastic quote from our source material that hits the nail on the head. Human civilizations have consistently projected order, anxiety, and narrative onto gravitational anomalies and the dark voids of the night sky. It basically tells us everything we need to know. Where astrophysical math fails to provide a clear, neat answer, human myth-making immediately steps in to fill that dark forest of space with our very own creations.
Section 1. The Ghosts of Astrophysics, Hunting the Unseen.
So what is a phantom planet? Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a hypothesized, completely unobserved celestial body that scientists essentially invent to resolve mathematical discrepancies. Historically speaking, scientists have vastly preferred to invent some hidden perturber lurking out there in the dark rather than questioning the underlying physical laws of the universe. I mean, if a planet's orbit is wobbly, it's just way easier to say, hey, something invisible is pulling it, than to admit, wow, our entire understanding of gravity might be wrong.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the historical track record. Back in 1846, the astronomer Urbain Le Verrier brilliantly predicted the existence of Neptune purely through math, just by analyzing the wobbly orbit of Uranus. So later, when he saw Mercury's orbit was also acting strange, advancing a little faster than Newtonian physics allowed, he used that exact same logic. In 1859, he hypothesized a hidden planet between Mercury and the Sun. He called it Vulcan. The only problem, Vulcan wasn't there. It actually took until 1915, when Albert Einstein introduced the curvature of space-time and general relativity, to realize the Sun's immense gravity was warping space itself. Einstein literally made Le Verrier's phantom planet mathematically obsolete overnight.
And we see this pattern repeat. Take a look at this case file. We've got Vulcan, debunked by better physics. We have Nemesis, which was this theoretical low-mass star blamed for comet showers and mass extinctions here on Earth, ultimately ruled out by modern infrared telescopes. We have Pluto, initially discovered because astronomers were hunting for a massive planet X, only for it to be reclassified as a dwarf planet later. And today, we have the ongoing, heavily debated search for Planet 9.
Section 2. Science fiction fills voids, myths of the margins.
So the moment a discovery is made, or even just when a gap is identified, fiction takes over. In 1930, Clyde Tombaugh empirically discovers Pluto through this incredibly painstaking photographic analysis. Almost immediately after, the cosmic horror writer H.P. Lovecraft models his fictional trans-Neptunian planet Yuggoth directly on Pluto. Tombaugh saw a dwarf planet. Lovecraft saw a literal outpost from malignant interstellar fungi. It just perfectly captures how quickly we project our own cosmic dread right onto the margins of our solar system.
And then, of course, you have the wildly entertaining B-movies of the mid-20th century. Take the 1961 film The Phantom Planet. It is an absolute goldmine of space-age anxiety tropes. You've got a U.S. Air Force moon base set in the quote-unquote distant future of the 1980s. Our hero, Captain Chapman, lands on a giant wandering asteroid named Rethan, breathes the gas, and promptly shrinks to just a few inches tall. He meets a miniature civilization of about 50 people and has to fight monstrous aliens called Solarites who cruise around in hollowed-out meteor ships equipped with heat rays. It's delightfully absurd, for sure, but it shows exactly how mid-century filmmakers just filled those theoretical voids with monsters.
Section 3. The reality of lost orbits, gravity, drag, and decay.
Let's shift back to the hard science for a minute. An orbit isn't actually permanent. It's this incredibly delicate balance of falling and missing. And when that balance gets perturbed, an orbit is lost. But a lost orbit doesn't always mean a fiery crash. Sometimes things get caught in what's known as a quasi-satellite trajectory. This is a small body occupying a one-to-one orbital resonance with Earth. It's technically orbiting the Sun, but from our perspective down here, it traces this complex path that masquerades as a temporary second moon.
and this brilliantly illustrates the crossover between space history and orbital mechanics. Astronomer Avi Loeb actually hypothesized that one of these newly identified quasi-satellites, an object named 2025 PN7, might not even be an asteroid at all. Its trajectory really closely matches the Soviet Zond 1 Venus probe, which was launched back in 1964 and silently lost during its cruise phase. It's an incredible thought, isn't it? Humanity's very own early space relics becoming actual lost orbits, just silently drifting and masquerading as celestial bodies.
Section 4. Apocalypses and Missing Earths, Narratives of Erasure.
Once again, fiction takes these real-world mechanics of lost orbits and turns them into profound metaphors. In modern literature, missing planets are often used to explore themes of societal collapse and hidden histories. Like in Peter Osterland's Lost Orbits, Earth literally vanishes from the Milky Way, and a disgraced planetologist has to find it while dodging a morally gray cosmos order and this terrifying immortal prison planet. Meanwhile, M.H. Allende's fantasy Invoker trilogy uses the concept of suppressed, forgotten stellar orbits as a super powerful metaphor for historical erasure. In that world, recovering these lost orbits actually sparks political rebellion.
On screen, orbital mechanics become high-stakes, apocalyptic entertainment. In Roland Emmerich's 2022 movie Moonfall, a decaying lunar orbit reveals that the moon is actually an ancient Dyson sphere arc. And, taking it to a completely different medium, in the animated finale of Danny Phantom, an entire global alliance of ghosts literally has to turn the Earth itself intangible just to dodge a lost orbit collision with a toxic ectoranium asteroid.
Section 5. Navigating the Digital Cosmos, Slingshots and Survival.
Let's move to the interactive medium and see how this builds. Video games take these complex gravitational physics and turn them into direct survival mechanics. In the indie game Lost Orbit, you play as Harrison, a maintenance worker who loses his starship and gets stranded. To survive, you have to literally use the mathematical physics of gravitational slingshots. You utilize the pull of planets and black holes to steer and accelerate through deep space, collecting crystals and dodging asteroids. It turns orbital decay into a really fast-paced game of survival.
We can contrast that twitchy, action-heavy mechanic with a game like Mio, Memories in Orbit. Here, the lost orbit isn't a planet. It's a massive, drifting generation ship called the Vessel. It's a much slower, atmospheric dive into societal decay, where you explore a world corrupted by gloom water, managed by decaying AI pearls that are holding on to biological human consciousness. It is a haunting look at a literal lost orbit drifting aimlessly through space.
Section 6. The Future of the Void, Nemesis and Planet 9.
So, back to reality. We have definitely cleaned up some of our cosmic map recently. NASA's incredibly advanced WISE spacecraft officially killed off the Nemesis ghost. It definitively ruled out the existence of any Saturn-sized or larger bodies within 10,000 astronomical units of our sun. But you know, that doesn't mean the dark edges of our solar system are completely empty.
So the crucial point is this: we are still actively hunting. In 2016, researchers Konstantin Batygin and Mike Brown hypothesized a massive object about 10 times the mass of Earth orbiting way out in the extreme outer solar system. This proposed Planet 9 acts like a huge lever bar, theoretically torquing the orbits of distant trans-Neptunian objects and causing the observed 6-degree tilt of our solar system. The debate over whether this is a real phantom planet or just an observational bias is raging in astrophysics right now. Which leads us with a final thought to ponder. As our telescopes look deeper and deeper into the void for Planet 9, will we just find cold, hard data? Or will this vast, unseen frontier inspire the next generation of storytellers to fill the darkness with brand new cosmic monsters? Because as we've seen today, right at the absolute edge of human knowledge, science and myth will always orbit each other. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep looking up.